At 70, the truth about Kevin Costner's life is far more shocking and heartbreaking than anyone ever imagined. From Hollywood glory to devastating personal battles, scandals, betrayals, and a pain he tried to keep hidden for decades, this is not the story fans expected to hear. But before we dive into the untold truth behind one of America's most beloved stars, take just a second to hit that subscribe button and leave a like. It really helps this channel reach more people like you and keeps us bringing stories the mainstream media won't tell. YouTube only shows our videos to more viewers when you interact, so your support truly makes a difference. And don't forget to comment below what part of Kevin Costner's journey shocks you the most, because what you're about to hear might completely change how you see him. Kevin Costner, the man who defined cinematic greatness with classics like Dances with Wolves, The Bodyguard, and Yellowstone, has faced more darkness behind the scenes than most can imagine. While the world admired his calm strength and quiet charisma, his real life was collapsing under the weight of betrayal, heartbreak, and financial struggles that nearly destroyed everything he built. His divorces became public wars. His career went from Oscar-winning peaks to devastating lows. And even his private life, the one he fought so hard to protect, was ripped open for everyone to judge. The once golden boy of Hollywood found himself at odds with studios, friends, and even family, as rumors of arrogance, broken promises, and personal demons surrounded him. But what truly happened behind those headlines? What pushed Kevin to the edge emotionally, professionally, and financially? And what shocking truth has finally come to light, changing everything we thought we knew about him? Stay with me until the very end, because the final revelation in this story will leave you absolutely speechless. This isn't just another celebrity downfall, it's the raw, emotional truth of a man who gave everything to his art and paid the ultimate price in return. The tragedy of Kevin Costner isn't just about fame lost or love broken, it's about how even the strongest heroes can fall when the spotlight fades. So buckle up, because what's coming next will make you see Kevin Costner like never before. Kevin Michael Costner was born on January 18th, 1955, in Linwood, California. Raised in a modest working-class family, he grew up constantly moving due to his father's job as an electrician. Shy, athletic, and deeply thoughtful, young Kevin found solace in sports, writing, and music, but he was always drawn to storytelling. After earning a degree in business from California State University, Fullerton, Costner seemed destined for an ordinary life until a life-changing encounter with actor Richard Burton on an airplane inspired him to pursue acting, no matter the risk. Costner left everything behind to chase his dream in Hollywood. The road was brutal. He worked odd jobs, faced endless rejection, and for years could barely afford rent. His first film, The Big Chill, 1983, was a heartbreak. His scenes were completely cut, but director Lawrence Kasdan remembered him. 2 years later, Kasdan cast him in Silverado, 1985, and the world finally noticed his quiet intensity. Soon came The Untouchables, 1987, Bull Durham, 1988, and Field of Dreams, 1989, which turned Costner into one of Hollywood's most beloved stars. In 1990, he made history with Dances with Wolves, a film he directed, produced, and starred in. It became a global phenomenon, winning 7 Academy Awards, including Best Director and Best Picture. Costner was at the peak of fame, admired for his integrity and artistic courage. But success came with a heavy price. His next projects, Waterworld, 1995, and The Postman, 1997, were massive failures, earning him harsh criticism and the label of Hollywood's most expensive mistake. Behind the cameras, his personal life fell apart too. His 16-year marriage to Cindy Silva ended in a painful and highly publicized divorce, costing him millions and breaking his family apart. Despite humiliation and career decline, Costner refused to disappear. He rebuilt his reputation with heartfelt performances in films like Open Range, 2003, 13 Days, 2000, and Draft Day, 2014. Then, in 2018, he made one of the greatest comebacks in television history with Yellowstone, where his portrayal of John Dutton brought him renewed fame and respect. However, Even recent years have not spared him from hardship. In 2023, his divorce from Christine Baumgartner became a public spectacle, revealing private struggles and financial tensions. Yet, through it all, Kevin Costner remains calm, proud, and deeply human, a man defined by resilience. Today, at 70, Costner stands as one of Hollywood's last true icons, a dreamer who rose, fell, and rose again. His story is not just about fame, it's about survival, courage, and the cost of greatness. And even now, his journey isn't over. 1. The illusion of the perfect Hollywood hero. For decades, Kevin Costner has stood as the symbol of the perfect Hollywood hero, calm, noble, and strong. He was a man who never flinched in the face of danger, who protected those he loved, and who always did what was right, no matter the cost. Audiences around the world saw him as the embodiment of quiet courage, the ultimate gentleman both on and off the screen. But what many never realized was that behind that perfect image was a man struggling to live up to expectations that no human being could truly meet. From the moment fame found him, Costner became trapped inside the character the world wanted him to be. Hollywood praised his confidence, his composure, and his moral integrity. Yet those same traits turned into chains. Every move he made, every word he spoke, was watched, analyzed, and judged. He could no longer simply be Kevin. He had to be Kevin Costner, the flawless movie star, the modern cowboy, the man who had it all together. The pressure to maintain that image weighed heavily on him. While others saw success, inside he often felt isolated and misunderstood. The calm presence that made him so magnetic on screen came from a real place of deep introspection, but it also became a mask that hid the exhaustion of a man who could never show weakness. He once said that fame doesn't change who you are, it just magnifies your insecurities, and for Costner, those insecurities became a silent battle. Hollywood's love is conditional, and he knew it. The same studios and fans who celebrated his strength would abandon him the moment he faltered. So, he learned to play the role of perfection in real life, smiling when his personal world was falling apart, acting composed even when facing professional disaster. The illusion of the perfect Hollywood hero brought him glory, but it also stole his freedom. Over time, that image became so ingrained that even he began to lose touch with who he really was beneath the spotlight. The Kevin Costner that the world admired was a creation. The real man was far more complex, vulnerable, and human. And perhaps that is where the true tragedy begins. In his effort to give the world a hero, he had to sacrifice parts of himself that no one ever got to see. 2. The crushing weight of personal loss. Behind the fame, the awards, and the charm that made millions admire him, Kevin Costner's life has been deeply marked by personal loss, heartbreak, and emotional exhaustion. What the world often forgets is that being one of Hollywood's biggest stars doesn't shield anyone from pain, and Costner learned that lesson the hardest way possible. His first great heartbreak came not from a career failure, but from the collapse of a love story that had been part of his life since youth. He met Cindy Silva in college, long before he had fame, money, or recognition. She supported him through his early years of struggle, even when acting seemed like an impossible dream. For 16 years, they built a life together, raising 3 children and becoming one of Hollywood's most admired couples, a symbol of stability in an industry known for its short-lived romances. But fame changed everything. Endless filming schedules, public scrutiny, and constant rumors chipped away at the foundation of their marriage. When they finally divorced in 1994, it wasn't just a legal separation, it was the end of the only sense of normalcy Costner had ever known. The emotional toll was immense. He lost not just a wife, but the person who had known him before he became a household name, the woman who believed in him when no one else did. Years later, when Kevin married Christine Baumgartner, many believed he had finally found peace. They seemed to share a quiet harmony, away from the chaos of Hollywood. They built a family, raising 3 more children, and for a while, Costner looked genuinely content. Yet beneath that calm exterior, old wounds still lingered. Fame once again brought its challenges: long absences due to filming, pressure from public life, and growing emotional distance. When their marriage ended in 2023, it came with a storm of public attention and painful legal battles that stripped away the privacy he cherished. The headline spoke of money and property, but the real story was far more human, a 68-year-old man facing yet another heartbreak, watching his family life crumble once again after decades of trying to hold it all together. Beyond the divorces, Costner also suffered the quieter losses that come with age and success, friendships that faded, trust that was broken, and the realization that fame often isolates more than it connects. The people around him changed, but the loneliness never did. For someone who spent his life portraying strong, dependable men, these emotional blows hit even harder. Each loss left an invisible scar, a reminder that even the most admired figures can't escape the weight of human pain. Today, behind the calm eyes and the measured smile, there's a man who has lived through deep sorrow, a man who's learned that love and fame rarely coexist peacefully. The crushing weight of personal loss has shaped Kevin Costner more than any role he's ever played, teaching him that sometimes the greatest battles aren't fought on screen, they're fought in the heart, in silence, when no one is watching. 3. The Hollywood downfall no one saw coming. For years, Kevin Costner was seen as untouchable, the golden boy of Hollywood, the man who could do no wrong. With box office hits like The Untouchables, Field of Dreams, and Dances with Wolves, he wasn't just a star. He was a symbol of what Hollywood could be when talent met integrity. But the higher someone climbs in that world, the further there is to fall, and Costner's fall came fast, hard, and painfully public. After the success of Dances with Wolves, he was on top of the world, directing, producing, and acting in films that defined an era. Hollywood adored him, critics praised him, and audiences trusted him. Yet, that trust would soon turn into doubt. His ambition, which once drove him to greatness, started to work against him. He wanted to control every aspect of his films, from the story to the camera angles, and that level of perfectionism made studios nervous. Then came Waterworld in 1995, the movie that would forever change the way people talked about Kevin Costner. The film was the most expensive production of its time, plagued by storms, delays, and on-set conflicts. Before it was even released, the media had labeled it a disaster. And when it finally hit theaters, the backlash was brutal. Headlines mocked him, critics turned on him, and the public began to see not the charming hero, but the man behind the curtain, a man accused of ego, excess, and poor judgment. For Costner, it wasn't just a movie failure, it was a turning point. Hollywood, once eager to praise him, suddenly seemed to enjoy tearing him down. The same journalists who had called him a genius were now calling him arrogant and washed up. Instead of offering him another chance, studios pulled away, unwilling to risk their money or reputation on someone they now saw as unpredictable. When The Postman followed in 1997, the damage deepened. What he had hoped would be a powerful statement about humanity was instead ridiculed as self-indulgent and out of touch. For the first time in his career, audiences didn't want to see Kevin Costner, they wanted to move on. The emotional toll of that downfall was immense. Behind closed doors, Costner faced humiliation and self-doubt. He had gone from being one of Hollywood's most respected figures to being the punchline of late-night jokes. Yet what made it even harder was that deep down, he believed in the stories he told. He didn't make Waterworld or The Postman for fame or money. He made them because he cared about storytelling, because he wanted to say something meaningful. But Hollywood doesn't reward sincerity when it fails to sell tickets. And so, the man who once defined box office success was quietly pushed aside. For years, Costner lived in the shadow of those failures, struggling to find his place again. Projects he loved were rejected, scripts he believed in went unread, and invitations to major roles stopped coming. He became, in the eyes of many, a relic of another era, a star who had burned too bright, too soon. Yet through that painful period, he never lost his quiet dignity. While others might have lashed out or tried to reinvent themselves desperately, Costner chose patience. He waited, rebuilt, and learned to find peace away from the noise. His Hollywood downfall may have shattered the image of perfection, but it also revealed the real man behind the myth, someone who had tasted both the intoxicating sweetness of fame and the bitter sting of rejection, and who somehow found the strength to keep going. 4. The financial storm and silent struggles. Behind the glamour, red carpets, and million-dollar smiles, Kevin Costner has lived through financial storms that few people truly understand. To the outside world, he has always looked like the man who had it all: beautiful homes, blockbuster success, and the calm confidence of someone untouched by money troubles. But in truth, Costner's financial journey has been filled with risk, loss, and moments of quiet desperation that nearly cost him everything he built. His problems didn't come from irresponsibility, but from ambition. The same drive that made him a Hollywood legend also pushed him to gamble huge amounts of money on projects that didn't always pay off. After Dances with Wolves turned him into an Academy Award-winning powerhouse, Costner believed in the power of artistic control. He wanted to produce and finance films that Hollywood wouldn't dare make. It was a bold vision and a costly one. Movies like Waterworld and The Postman went massively over budget, turning from creative dreams into financial nightmares. Critics mocked him for the extravagant spending, but few realized that Costner had poured much of his own fortune into those productions, convinced that they would succeed. When they didn't, he was left with enormous losses that took years to recover from. Over time, those financial wounds were covered up by his continued work and quiet investments, but they never truly disappeared. The Hollywood system, which once saw him as a safe bet, began to view him as a risk. Roles became fewer, budgets smaller, and the money that once flowed so easily started to dry up. Still, Costner refused to give up the lifestyle he had earned: sprawling ranches, private jets, and family vacations. Maintaining that world came with enormous costs, and the financial pressure only grew heavier as he entered his later years. His second marriage to Christine Baumgartner, though filled with love and family joy, also brought its own economic challenges. When their marriage ended in 2023, the divorce quickly became one of the most expensive and emotionally draining moments of his life. Legal documents revealed not only the emotional toll, but also the financial strain. Disputes over child support, property, and monthly expenses painted a picture of a man fighting to keep control over his fortune. But what makes Costner's financial story so unique is how quietly he faced it all. Unlike many celebrities who publicly fall apart, he never allowed his struggles to become a spectacle. He handled his challenges with dignity, selling assets when necessary, cutting back on spending, and focusing on the work that still mattered to him. His passion project, Horizon, an American saga, became another financial risk, self-financed in parts, reminding everyone that even at 70, Costner continues to stake his own money on stories he believes in. Some call it stubbornness. Others see it as artistic courage. The truth is, the financial storm never fully passed. It simply changed shape. It became a quiet battle fought behind closed doors, a daily reminder that even those who seem invincible must fight to keep what they've earned. For Kevin Costner, money has never been about greed. It has been about freedom, about owning his creative destiny. And that pursuit of freedom, while admirable, has often left him standing alone against the harsh reality of Hollywood economics. Today, as he enters his 7th decade, Costner remains a man who knows both sides of wealth: the joy of success and the fear of losing it all. His story proves that even the richest lives can carry invisible burdens, and sometimes the greatest strength is the ability to keep moving forward when the numbers don't add up and the world expects you to fail. 5. The loneliness behind the fame. Behind the shining lights, adoring fans, and endless red carpet smiles, Kevin Costner's life has always carried an invisible shadow, a deep, quiet loneliness that fame could never cure. To millions, he's the picture of success, a Hollywood legend, a father, a man who has seemingly conquered every dream. But behind the curtain, there's a different story, one that speaks of solitude, disconnection, and the emotional emptiness that often follows those who reach the top. For Costner, fame came with incredible rewards, but also with a cost that few could ever imagine. When you live in the spotlight for decades, you start to lose a sense of what's real. Every handshake, Every compliment, every friendship begins to feel uncertain. People love you for what you represent, not for who you truly are. And for a man like Kevin, who values authenticity and quiet connection, that kind of superficial world can become suffocating. Over the years, Costner has built a reputation as a private man, someone who prefers silence and open spaces to Hollywood parties and social events. He often retreats to his ranch in Aspen, where he spends long stretches of time away from the industry, surrounded only by nature and his thoughts. To outsiders, that might look peaceful, but it also reveals how isolated he has become. After 2 failed marriages and decades of public scrutiny, trusting people has become difficult. Even close relationships can feel fragile when everything in your life, your work, your image, your happiness is constantly under judgment. Costner has admitted in past interviews that he sometimes feels like an outsider, even among those who celebrate him. The more successful he became, the smaller his circle grew. The loneliness deepened after his children grew older and his second marriage ended. While he remains a devoted father, the quiet of an empty house and the silence between projects often leave him confronting the reality of being alone. For someone who once spent his life surrounded by film crews, fans, and endless noise, that silence can be both healing and painful. The contrast between his public image, the strong, confident man who always has it together, and his private reality, the solitary figure who spends nights reflecting on the past, is what makes his story so profoundly human. In recent years, as Costner entered his 70s, that solitude has become more visible. He attends fewer Hollywood events, gives fewer interviews, and seems to find comfort only in his creative work and family visits. Friends say that he has learned to live with loneliness rather than fight it, accepting it as part of the price he paid for the life he chose. Yet, deep inside, there's a quiet sadness that lingers, a reminder that success cannot replace genuine connection. The world may see him as the man who has everything, but what he craves most is something fame can't buy: real companionship, trust, and peace of mind. Kevin Costner's loneliness isn't the kind that comes from being forgotten. It's the kind that comes from being known by everyone, but truly understood by very few. It's the emotional cost of a lifetime spent in the spotlight, where applause fades, people change, and what remains is a man who, after giving his heart to the world, is still searching for a place where he can simply be himself. 6. The final revelation, a legacy built on pain and redemption. As Kevin Costner reaches the age of 70, his story stands as a powerful reminder that true greatness is never built on fame alone. It's carved out of pain, loss, and the courage to rise again. For decades, he has lived a life that many dream of: stardom, wealth, and respect in an industry known for destroying even the strongest souls. Yet, beneath that golden image lies the truth of a man who has endured heartbreak after heartbreak, failure after failure, and somehow found a way to turn his scars into strength. The final revelation about Kevin Costner's legacy is not about the movies or the awards. It's about the resilience that defines his journey. Every fall he took, whether personal or professional, became a lesson, shaping him into a man far deeper and wiser than the world ever expected. His story is no longer just about the Hollywood hero who once dominated the box office. It's about the human being who refused to give up when the lights went out and the applause faded. After the highs of the 1990s and the brutal setbacks that followed, Costner could have easily disappeared like so many before him. But instead, he chose to rebuild, brick by brick, rediscovering himself through roles that spoke to his soul rather than his ego. With Yellowstone, he didn't just make a comeback, he reminded the world that real power comes from authenticity. Playing John Dutton, a character torn between love, loyalty, and legacy, mirrored the emotional battles Costner had faced in his own life. Through that role, audiences saw the raw, unfiltered version of him, not the untouchable movie star, but a man who had lived through loss and still found purpose. In many ways, Yellowstone became more than just a show. It became his redemption, the moment when art and life finally aligned. But redemption for Costner didn't mean escaping the pain, it meant embracing it. He learned that the beauty of a legacy doesn't come from perfection, but from endurance. The divorces, the career failures, the loneliness, all of it became part of the story he now carries with pride. He often speaks about how failure teaches more than success ever could, and his life is living proof of that truth. What makes his legacy so powerful is that it isn't polished or flawless, it's honest. It's the story of a man who gave everything to his craft, lost almost all of it, and still stood tall. Now, as time moves forward, Kevin Costner's reflection is not one of regret, but of acceptance. He knows that pain was the price of the life he chose, and redemption was his reward for never surrendering to it. He may have faced the storms of Hollywood, the heartbreak of broken homes, and the silence of empty fame, but through it all, he discovered something far greater: peace with himself. That's the final revelation. The real Kevin Costner is not the perfect cowboy or the flawless hero. He's a survivor who has turned every wound into wisdom, every setback into strength, and every ending into a new beginning. His legacy is not just written in the films he made, but in the quiet resilience that continues to inspire millions. It's the story of a man who walked through fire and came out not untouched, but unbroken, and that, more than anything else, is what makes his journey so unforgettable. If Kevin Costner's story shocked and inspired you, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps us reach more people who love Hollywood stories as much as you do. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because on this channel we dive deep into the untold truths behind the biggest stars, and your support allows us to keep bringing these incredible stories to life. Comment below and tell us, what part of Kevin Costner's journey surprised you the most? Was it the heartbreak, the Hollywood failures, or the incredible comeback with Yellowstone? Watch until the very end, because the final revelation about his life reminds us all that even heroes bleed, yet rise stronger than ever. Don't miss it. Your next favorite story is just a click away.